In 1969, a motorcycle rolled onto the streets that would change everything. The Honda CB750 didn't just raise the bar, it completely demolished it. But that's not even close to the most extraordinary classic motorcycle ever built. The history of motorcycles is filled with machines that redefined what was possible on two wheels. Today, we're counting down the 10 most incredible classic motorcycles that have collectors worldwide fighting to get their hands on them. Before we reveal number 1, you'll discover a motorcycle so rare that only 3,000 were ever made, and each one had to prove itself worthy before leaving the factory. Let's start with number 10, the Brau Superior. When you hear the phrase Rolls-Royce of motorcycles, this isn't marketing hype. This was the only time Rolls-Royce ever allowed their name to be associated with another vehicle. Each SS100 model had to achieve 100 miles per hour before it was sold. If it failed, back to the workshop for a complete rebuild. These machines weren't just fast, they were engineered to standards that seemed impossible for their time. With only 3,000 units produced over 21 years, finding one today is like discovering buried treasure. Modern collectors pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for these mechanical masterpieces, but unlike many collector vehicles, Brau Superiors were built so well that they can still be ridden today without worry. At number 9, we have the Vincent Black Shadow. In the 1950s, this beast could hit 125 miles per hour, a speed that modern bikes wouldn't match for decades. The story behind this motorcycle starts with a 17-year-old prodigy who designed his first motorcycle while his peers were still in school. That same genius would later patent a revolutionary suspension system while still in university. The Black Shadow wasn't just about raw speed. It represented the pinnacle of British engineering in the post-war era. Every component was meticulously crafted, creating a motorcycle that stood head and shoulders above its contemporaries. The engine alone was a work of art, with performance capabilities that would make modern riders do a double-take. The Black Shadow's value has skyrocketed in the past 20 years, not just because of its speed records, but because it represented a perfect storm of innovation, craftsmanship, and boundary-pushing performance. If you're fascinated by engineering brilliance like this, hit subscribe now because we're just getting started with these mechanical masterpieces. Number 8 brings us to wartime excellence, the Harley-Davidson WLA. While many collectors chase after the famous knucklehead, the WLA tells a more compelling story. Over 70,000 of these machines served in World War II, and here's something most people don't know. After 1942, every single WLA carried a 1942 serial number, regardless of when it was built. These motorcycles were built for battle, featuring a rugged 45 cubic inch side-valve V-twin engine that could handle whatever conditions soldiers threw at it. After the war, thousands of these bikes were converted for civilian use, stripped of their military equipment and repainted. Today, both military and civilian versions of the WLA represent a crucial piece of motorcycle history. Their simple design and bulletproof reliability make them not just collectible, but genuinely enjoyable to ride and maintain. Coming up next is a motorcycle that got its name from a record that was never officially recognized, yet it became one of the most iconic bikes ever built. The Triumph Bonneville takes our number 7 spot. This legendary machine dominated roads for over 2 decades. The T120 in its name wasn't just a random number, it represented the bike's intended top speed. But what makes this motorcycle truly special is how it earned its name. It all started with a speed record attempt at the Bonneville Salt Flats that wasn't even officially recognized. Despite the controversy, Triumph seized the marketing opportunity and created what would become one of the most beloved British motorcycles ever made. The 1969 and 1970 models of the 650cc Bonneville are considered the pinnacle of development, combining perfect balance with exhilarating performance. The parallel twin engine proved so versatile that it excelled in everything from casual riding to serious racing. Even today, the aftermarket support for these machines remains strong, allowing collectors to keep them running in peak condition. Number 6 showcases Italian engineering at its finest, the Ducati 750 V-twin. In 1971, Ducati's engineers accomplished what seemed impossible. They designed an entirely new engine in just 4 months and built a complete prototype motorcycle in 5. This began a 47-year legacy where Ducati would produce nothing but V-twin engines for their road bikes. The 750 GT launched a dynasty of motorcycles that would dominate both street and track. The 90-degree V-twin configuration created perfect primary balance, delivering smooth power while producing that distinctive Ducati sound that still turns heads today. As the 1970s progressed, this platform evolved into increasingly impressive sports models, each one faster and more beautiful than the last. These early V-twins represent the moment Ducati found its soul, the beginning of a design philosophy that would define the brand for half a century. At number 5, we have the motorcycle that changed everything, the Honda CB750. Before this bike, the motorcycle world was dominated by British twins and American V-twins. Then Honda unleashed a smooth-running, oil-tight inline-4 that left the competition in the dust. The CB750 wasn't just another motorcycle, it was the world's first superbike. While history often credits it as the first transverse four-cylinder production motorcycle, that honor actually belongs to the MV Agusta 600 from 1966. But the CB750 did something the MV never could. It brought superbike performance to the masses. With its electric start, front disc brake, and reliability that seemed almost magical compared to its British rivals, the CB750 forced every manufacturer to completely rethink their approach to motorcycle design. The impact was so significant that nearly every Japanese motorcycle manufacturer adopted the transverse four-cylinder layout, creating a blueprint that continues to influence motorcycle design today. Up next is a motorcycle that proves greatness doesn't always come with a massive price tag. This underdog changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of riders. The BSA Bantam claims our number 4 position. This might surprise some collectors, but the Bantam's story is fascinating. The design actually began life as a German DKW, seized as war reparations in 1945. What's even more interesting is that the same design went to 3 different manufacturers: BSA in Britain, Harley-Davidson in America, where it became the Hummer, and even made its way to Russia. From these borrowed blueprints, BSA created something extraordinary, a motorcycle so practical and affordable that an estimated 500,000 units were built. The simple 125cc to 175cc two-stroke engine provided reliable transportation for countless riders. The Bantam remained in production for an impressive 23 years, proving its design's enduring appeal. While many were used up and discarded, surviving examples offer an affordable entry point into classic motorcycle collecting. The Bantam proves that historical significance doesn't always come with a hefty price tag. Number 3 introduces the Yamaha FS1, affectionately known as the Fizzy. In the 1970s and 80s, this little 50cc two-stroke represented freedom for an entire generation of young riders. Despite its small size, the FS1 looked like a proper motorcycle. The two-stroke engine might have only produced modest power, but its high-revving nature and distinctive exhaust note made every ride feel like a Grand Prix adventure. With over 200,000 units sold in the UK alone, these machines dominated streets across Europe. To comply with local moped laws, it even featured a set of bicycle pedals, though most riders only used them when absolutely necessary. The Fizzy sparked a revolution in youth motorcycling, creating a template for sporty mopeds that manufacturers still follow today. Original examples are now highly sought after, with prices skyrocketing as collectors chase the motorcycles of their youth. Don't miss out on our weekly classic motorcycle deep dives. Subscribe now to join our community of passionate enthusiasts. At number 2, we have the BMW R80 GS, a motorcycle that created an entirely new category. While dedicated dirt bikes and street bikes existed, BMW saw an opportunity for something different. Inspired by the versatility of the Range Rover, BMW's engineers created the world's first adventure touring motorcycle. The GS designation stood for Geländestrasse, off-road road, perfectly describing its dual-purpose nature. The R80 GS didn't just combine on- and off-road capabilities, it proved its worth by dominating the Paris-Dakar Rally, one of the most grueling motorsport events in the world. This groundbreaking design launched the adventure touring segment that dominates modern motorcycle sales. Early R80 GS models offer classical styling with genuine off-road capability, all while costing less than their modern descendants. The significance of this motorcycle can't be overstated. It single-handedly created a category that would become one of the most popular in modern motorcycling. Our number 1 spot goes to a motorcycle so dominant that it won 29 championships in just 37 years. But its racing success is only part of the story. The Harley-Davidson XR750 takes the crown as our most extraordinary classic motorcycle. Built for the AMA Grand National Championship, this machine achieved something unprecedented in motorsport: total dominance for over 3 decades. From 1972 to 2008, the XR750 claimed 29 championship titles, a record that stands unmatched in any form of motorsport. Its aluminum alloy engine was a masterpiece of engineering, capable of producing massive torque while remaining reliable race after race. This wasn't just a race bike, it became a cultural icon, famous as the preferred motorcycle of legendary stuntman Evel Knievel, and starring in the groundbreaking motorcycle film On Any Sunday. The XR750's versatility was unmatched. It dominated dirt tracks, road races, and even broke multiple jump records under Knievel's control. Unlike Unlike many racing motorcycles that were scrapped after their competition days, many XR750s survived and can still be found today. With a few modifications, these racing legends can be made street legal, offering their owners the purest form of American motorcycle performance ever created. But there's one mystery about the XR750 that few people know. Hidden in Harley-Davidson's archives is the story of how this dominant race bike almost never made it to production. The truth behind this legendary motorcycle's troubled development will blow your mind, but that's a story for next time.